What's up, guys? So today I'm introducing my new project. It's a 96 Acura Integra LS automatic, nothing fancy, but something to daily drive to keep the miles off the current daily driver. And as the ongoing joke goes, is I'm getting a daily for my daily, so I can daily, whatever that means. Anyways, so right now we're going to be doing some brakes and rotors, and I decided why not do an OEM plus brake setup on this. So what I'm doing is I'm going to be putting on Mini Cooper rotors, Legend dual caliper pistons, and TSX pads. I was going to go with the ITR pad, but we'll just see how that goes, and if I don't like it or it shims too much, then I'll swap to the ITR pad. But this car obviously needs revamped. The last caliper was stuck, so these are my current OG calipers off my other Integra. It's my son Jason. Say what's up. Anyways, so we got the dual piston calipers, which are a lot better in braking. Got a new hose. Got the shims that sit between the rotor and the lug to keep it from moving. And then that's the part number for the rotors, the Mini Cooper rotors. A few days later. But this is the correct part number for the 07 Mini Cooper base model. That's the rotor number for that. You'll need that. And look at this old Integra rotor. This thing is ate up pretty bad.
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
And then the part number for the pads. The shims, I got them on eBay from China for about $13 shipped. You can get them for 30 bucks here in the United States, but I don't like, paying too much for something that small and cheap. I just bought it from China instead. And then that's the hose if you're going to put a new hose. My hoses are claps on this, which was causing the caliper to stick, and that's the whole reason why I did that. I already knocked the line loose, and I'm getting fluid. When I knocked the line loose off of the other calipers, it was barely dripping. So we know where the issue's at, and we're about to fix that. So bear with me. All right, so days later, we got the correct rotor, which is a 2007 base Mini Cooper, which is about almost an inch, maybe an inch, bigger than the actual 05 that I had. And these spacers actually fit now. So you just line it up, and I'll try to do this with one hand. There you go. So that just stops the rotor from moving back and forth, even though it may or may not move back and forth once the wheel is against it and it's torqued down. But I'm doing this in this nasty storm. It's flooding out. I'm just trying to get this done. Still going to run the TSX pad. I'm just going to shave the ear down a little bit so they can fit in there. I guess they must have some weird coating on it that's not allowing the back pad to go in a little bit on the ear. But that is pretty much the completed end of the Mini Cooper 12-inch rotor, I believe it is. Yeah, it's 12-inch. It's like 11.9, 11.8 with the Legend / NSX caliper and 94 Integra hose. But it just looks so good behind the wheel when it takes up a whole 15. And this works with an OEM wheel, so you can have a big brake kit with a 15-inch wheel, but it can't be 14. Just won't work. It won't clear the inside of the wheel diameter. But OEM wheels, 15-inch and up, LS Webbs, Swirlies, SIs, Fat Fives, etc. It'll fit 15 and up. And this is probably your best bang for your buck too, especially if you get any discounts. Obviously, I get discounts, but you may have like a $400 into it. Just depends what you pay on the caliper plus the cores, taxes, stuff like that. But it's still cheaper, I guess, than going with a Woolwood calipers that run the stock rotors on the Integra, because you still have a smaller rotor, and you know you want more rotor, more surface area to bite with a bigger pad. And you know, even though it's 4 pistons, I mean, these 2 dual pistons will do just as fine. But there we go. I'll show you guys the wheels after I'm done putting the other spacers on. All right, so make sure that the spring that's provided with these Legend calipers, you put them on, because it helps with vibration and pushing down on the pads, so it's not like moving back and forth on you. And the TSX pads, they do go in, it's very tight. You just got to like put not one side first and the other, you got to kind of like put them together and kind of just push in, and then it'll pop in, then they can move. And I mean, they move back and forth like they should. And then once you put that, just put this caliper back on. If you're going to paint it, and then bleed this side first. Passenger side always first. You want to start with the rear, but you always do passenger side first, furthest from the brake master cylinder. So you would do, say if you're bleeding the whole system, you go passenger rear, driver's rear, passenger front, driver's front. That way you get all the air to the brake master cylinder, or to the last caliper and out through the brake master cylinder, prop valve, and all that ABS goodness. But I'm gonna go ahead and mount this back up, get the other side done. You got enough space to, let's see, like passes the bracket and caliper and all, which is cool. You can probably slide a credit card in there, so if it ever got a rock, it might have some issues. But yeah, it's pretty clear for a big brake kit. OEM plus. All right, so one thing I didn't mention about the heater shields, you got to bend them so it can pass this ear, so you can put the bolts into stuff, or else the caliper bracket itself, where the ear goes behind this, won't fit. So you got to bend this back, or you can just cut off the corner. Fine, I bent them. I can cut them another time. It's not going to kill me. But all you got to do is just push the dust shield a little bit away from the rotor so it won't rub. Not that it will, but you know, when you're moving all this stuff, it gets bent out of shape and it will rub the rotor. But all right, getting on to the next one, and then I'll put the caliper mounted on with everything, and then I'll do the hose last this time. All right, so everything's on. Just have to bleed the brakes. As you can see, the spacer, the shims, spacers, whatever you want to call them. Calipers on. Just have to get the longer bolts with the little bit of spacers to hold them away from there so they won't kink the hose. New hose is on. And the shield thing I was talking about. So if you don't bend it, you see how like the ear won't clear to the back of the spindle. But if you bend that, you can. But the only thing is, once you bend them, then you gotta like bend this away from the rotor, or the rotor's gonna rub it. But that's easy, just do that by hand. But other than that, big brake upgrade completed on both sides, and all I gotta do is just bleed it. If you guys have any questions or want to see any more DIYs, let me know.